I'll tell you what, something that is predictable is what's coming up first, because I just showed you the schedule, so I can actually tell you that our first match, our first series on the main stage is going to be JLINGZ versus Acend. Now, we did actually sit down with two of our players from both of the teams. We have Quad and Respectful to talk about how they're feeling about this very important match.
As well, and with 4 seconds left, Lunny is desperately trying to get a touch on that flag. 3 players fall towards him, and Quad deals with the ball!
A triple kill to end it. There he is, standing up on the stage. He wants to...
I feel like pressure makes us better, actually. I guess it can be the opposite for some people.
I'm always confident anyway, because that's just the way I am when it comes to this. But I'm very confident coming into it in myself and my team, which is nice. And I just think we're all going to just shine. So I'm excited.
The extra kills, Valkyrie's his next target. How different it could have been if Millsy was able to hit those shots with a drop rifle. That's the difference maker, and that's Respectful showing how it's done.
Acend are a really, really good team. We always have fun games with Acend, but we've never played them online. So anything can happen on the day. We just can't make mistakes tomorrow against those guys. They really will take advantage, and they showed to the American teams when they came top 8 at the event that they will capitalize on mistakes. And yeah, we just need to sharpen up tomorrow, for sure.
Inside of Elevator, otherwise you're not going to be getting that hill time. The long flank does come in and it's effective here for Septic. They get all 4 dead. Those players coming off respawn. Glory's going to be 1, and there's the triple. Make it all 4 here, Septic, but Cristola is going to steal it away.
He's saying, I've got the camo, I have the advantage, you've got to try and see me through a little bit of your looking glasses, and he's still managing to pick up kills, still managing to get away, and already we're seeing a significant lead being found for Acend.
That was 2 players shooting 1 player, and somehow not only did he get the kill, but he was able to scamper away with his life as well. That is why he's one of the best around.
Are you ready?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a purple hue lighting up half of the arena. I'll tell you what, they'll be starting with a full tank Acend. Let's talk about them first. This squad, for me, in terms of the ratio of this series, it's not what they have to do, it's what they have to keep doing, right, Clutch? You know, what do these guys bring to the table that's going to be really difficult for JLINGZ to stop?
It's going to be pressure. It's going to be the pace of the game is going to be sped up for JLINGZ. We'll figure out if JLINGZ can compete with that kind of a pace. They've done well so far this weekend. They put on a very great show in all of their matches, but this is going to be a different test.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different test here, and I think, you know, right now what I want to see from Acend Gaskin is them to not let off the gas. Don't become complacent. Don't become, you know, unconfident and kind of like nonchalant about it. Handle it with absolute pro and just go for it out there. And I think it's important for us to actually see what these guys are capable of, especially coming into later matches.
These guys are just such a terrifying prospect. And I think that, you know, we've seen throughout the weekend players plugging in their SSDs to the computer to get ready. These guys plug themselves into the computer. That's how terrifying they are going to be, right? They are like robots at times, and it will be business as usual. They are not going to let up. They are not going to take their foot off the gas. They are not going to underestimate JLINGZ. They are going to treat this the same as they would treat any other game if they were in a grand final, in a winners final. Acend are ruthless when it comes to how they approach Halo Infinite. So if you are JLINGZ, you better get that first map at least a little bit of a hot start, because if Acend starts to get away with things and it starts to snowball, then you're unfortunately going to look at potential 3-0.
Now, Lethal, looking at Acend, and in terms of what they have to do here on the stage, obviously take down JLINGZ. Based on the way JLINGZ played yesterday, what would you be looking at in terms of the game plan for Acend? Is there anything that they can actually be thinking, putting into this series, that they want to try and capitalize on here?
I kind of feel like at this stage, Acend will be hiding whatever strategies they had up their sleeves, even leading up to this moment. But if JLINGZ pushes him over the edge, then they may reveal some, you know, jack of all trades, bits and pieces here and there. But it's going to be very, very tough, because even with Acend roster, in the EU scene overall, there's probably a team which will win everything every 2 or 3 years. There's like a little saga every so often. And I've been saying that over the last year as well, that this team will need to prove that. And as it's their first EU LAN, and I've said it before, like I'm old school, I don't think you won anything unless you win an EU event, especially on LAN. They're maybe looking to do that as well. But it's like I said, maybe bits and pieces they're going to hide still, even against the like of JLINGZ. But it's depending on how far JLINGZ can push him. But the problem for JLINGZ is the fact that even after yesterday's performance, none of them were happy. And I think the next question is going to be, have they able to recover what happened earlier, especially with the catastrophe yesterday against Blackhand?
What I will say in scrims, like, they've been slapping JLINGZ. Acend have been not just winning, you know, close matches like 5-4. It's been 5-1. It's been 250 to 40. It's been 50 to 25 on Slayers. Like, they've been destroying them in scrims. But that is online. That isn't on LAN. And we've already seen JLINGZ do to Blackhand what was maybe happening to them online. So I think this JLINGZ roster are going to look at this and say, hey, doesn't matter about scrims. We've learnt their strategies. Let's implement that now on the main stage, on LAN, and let's show what we're really, truly made of.
Very, very true. And you know what? I know it's a team game, but there is one person I am staring at right now, and that is Septic, because he turned things on for this team yesterday. Recharge King of the Hill came across, and Septic was unstoppable. The openings he got for this team were unbelievable. The objective efficiency was coming through because there were huge tunnels that they were able to run down and take control and capture Hill so perfectly. Clutch, what does this man bring to the table, and what does he need to do today to step up?
Yeah, Septic was playing at such a high level yesterday. I was honestly surprised, and he gave this team everything they needed to reverse sweep Blackhand, and that was a very impressive feat, but can you do it twice is a big question for me. What's the level of consistency going to be for Septic? Because there's times where I watch this JLINGZ roster and I'm like, Morgan needs some help. He can be that help. He needs to figure out a way to bring that same level that he brought against Blackhand in those last 3 games.
And for Septic, he's not the kind of player who will abuse the mechanics of the game or anything like that. He just does very high-level intellectual plays. We didn't really see much of that in the first couple games, but how he plays very sneakily. He's also similar to Snipedrone in terms of the trial and error, but just not with the additional damage that Snipedrone brings. But that's because of the fact that he plays a little bit more sneakier than Snipedrone, so he'll catch a lot of the players off guard, where with Blackhand, they were playing more a numbers game compared to JLINGZ, so that's where Septic thought, right, this is where I need to play a little bit more sneaky. This is where I'll go let 2 people go past me and put some shots down and then be able to collapse on them. And we saw that quite a lot, but we need to see Septic do it again. We saw him do it quite a lot in EU Super, but we need to see even more of that, especially in this series. That's going to be a very important one for these guys.
It certainly will, and it's also important to see what we're dealing with on the main stage as well. Let's take a look at the series layout. And Gaskin, you are my resident guy to go to here in terms of what we're looking at. Anything that's kind of, you know, poking out to you in terms of a potential sway?
I spoke to Quad just earlier on about the opener, Stronghold Streets, and he says, all right, typically Acend are very good at Stronghold Streets. We know how amazing they have been against other teams, but he also feels like it is a snowbally game type that could go in their favor. They're a momentum-based team. If they can get an early lead, if they can start to maybe make Acend worry a little bit, that could carry through throughout the rest of this this series. And suddenly, Acend, if they find themselves 1-0 down, they might be thinking, okay, this JLINGZ roster are not the same roster we've been playing online.
Very, very true. And I think looking at also Slayer Catalyst right there as second map here, I think that can also be a little bit difficult as well. I think that one could go down to the wire. And I know Acend, they are a Slayer heavy team. They're absolutely incredible in terms of individual skill. But I feel like with Catalyst, being able to kind of play the corners really well and kind of use the nooks and crannies of this map as best as you can get away with some sneaky stuff there. So maybe JLINGZ can read into that and try and take that one down as well for them. I'll tell you what, folks, it is ready to go for this series. We're going to head on over to our 2 wonderful casters kicking off Championship Sunday. We have Onset and Bravo.
Welcome along, everybody, and yes, indeed, it's Championship Sunday, and this is one of the moments we've been waiting for all weekend long. There's been a lot of action through the last few days, but now we have the big boys ready to go to battle. We're starting off with 2 of the biggest, Acend and JLINGZ.
Here we are, Championship Sunday. Acend, as you heard, of course, in the pre-show, one of the favorites and arguably the favorite to win this event after their years of dominance in Europe. JLINGZ, the dark horse, the team that many wondered could threaten the top 3. They've not only done that, they've started to take down the top 3 favorites. This is their first big test here. Championship Sunday, the winners semifinals.
And you can feel the mood here in Valencia has just changed a little bit this morning. Everybody yesterday, all the teams, all the players, smiles on faces, a little bit of laughing and joking. Today it is serious business for everyone. And this is the first piece of business to take care of. It's going to be Acend versus JLINGZ. We're heading over the streets to start things off.
Cannot wait to get into this. You heard Gaskin say JLINGZ feel up to the test here in this game number 1. They're ready for this game type. They're ready to fly. And Mark, you and I were talking a lot about this series, what JLINGZ need to do. They need to be the aggressors. They need to be the ones getting the opening damage and continuing to push the advantage.
They do indeed, and we're going to have to see if they can do that. And on the other side of things, you've got Acend, a lot to prove. As crazy as it may sound, this team has been dominant in the online arena, but this is a different environment. This is the LAN environment. This is what matters most.
That's right, this is the match that we really came for here. We want to welcome you along to Championship Sunday at the EU Regionals. We're live from Valencia, Spain, Professional Halo's first outing here in Spain, and it's been quite a tournament so far, but if we're honest, things are just heating up here on Championship Sunday. It's a nice use of the rockets for Septic here at Laundry.
Great use of all weaponry so far from Septic. He's got 1 kill with the Stalker Rifle, he's picked up the rockets, he's almost got another there with the Bulldog, and it's been a very stale start between the two teams. You can see nobody has got control of B. It's just an AC split at the moment, and now both teams make their ascent onto B, but you can see Morga's there, and Morga's going to get that cap.
Talk about the pressure here on Acend. Talking to Shurzy a lot about it this weekend. Acend, a team, we've talked about it before, 599 days undefeated. They lose an online event, all of a sudden they make a team change. They bring in Respectful on your screen. Not everyone's first pick on paper, but my God, has he ever stepped up for this team. But the most pressure they've ever had. This is their first time at a LAN where they are expected to win. Anything less will be a disappointment.
Oh, 100%, and I think the pressure's not only coming from those watching at home, but on themselves. They know how much this means, and from the opening here, we can see that JLINGZ did have momentary control of B, but Acend have made a big push onto it, and now did manage to turn it over themselves. But a couple of kills going back into their favor of JLINGZ means that they might be able to reconvert B, and I've been really impressed with the trades, with the 1v1 situations that have been won in certain situations by JLINGZ. A lot of the time, you'll see Acend come out on top, but it looks like JLINGZ are locked in.
They are locked in. They will continue scoring with this BC hold and continue their lead even more. And wow, you talk about the run that JLINGZ has had. Just in case you didn't catch Friday and Saturday, these guys are the momentum story. They win a big Game 5 as we see 3 dead for Acend. Early on in pool play, it's a 50-48 win. Then we also see them win another reverse sweep, Game 5 Slayer. These guys have been heating up, and they have continued that momentum, and it feels like right now, showing no signs of slowing, they're up 45-6.
They are 45-6 up, and Seeker has got the next set of rockets. Quadios is trying to take him down, and that spike grenade from Septic did so much damage, meaning those rockets will be just placed on the floor. Legends managed to pick them up, but look at the kill feed. The 2 Qs are combining for 2 kills. It means 3 in total, and Acend, I've got to say, so far in this game, very much on the back foot.
3 dead again. Look at the teamwork here between Septic and Morga. When you send 2 players into tires, you can get that sneaky back whack. It's paid off for them again. More good points on the board for JLINGZ, but with C flipped, we will see Acend scoring for the 2nd time in the game.
One thing that's very notable for me so far is JLINGZ have been happy to sit on that 2 cap. The CB hold has been fine for them. They haven't overextended at any point. This is the first time we've really seen them try and push a triple cap. They've moved towards A, they've got the conversion. Acend flips C, but this is the first time we've kind of seen a little bit of a reverse of where these teams have been set up.
Unsurprisingly, JLINGZ also leading in the Slays category. Quadios already 8-5 in the game. Morga 7-4.
3 dead again for Acend. This is something they are not used to. They are being outslayed, and not just outslayed, pretty heavily at this point in the game. Yes, it's early on, but look at the pressure and look how difficult everyone is being to be taken down on the side of JLINGZ. Kristola survives Legend at the moment. He's just trying to do what he can to put any kind of pressure on as JLINGZ are pushing the trip again.
Yeah, Chris, a really difficult kill there. Eventually he'll be taken out, and Legend's very wise to it. That was pretty tricky stuff there from Kristola to be pushing up garbage and then stay alive, but in the end, Acend will go ahead and grab B. That means they will hold BC and continue scoring, but they find themselves with quite a deficit. Rockets popping up in 5 seconds.
So JLINGZ, great start. Probably couldn't have asked for much more. Septic with yet another individual win, and he has been on fire so far, as Kristola also finds the rockets. But like I said, Acend, they've been on the back foot for quite some time. JLINGZ have had the numbers advantage. The scary thing, though, for the side of JLINGZ is they know if they slightly misstep at any point and find themselves 3 or 4 dead, then before they know it, Acend will be back into this.
They have absolutely no room for error, but right now looking very good. They will cross the 100-point mark here, still in the lead and still scoring. Let's go into an early Astro listen-in with JLINGZ.
I think it's PD. Gonna spawn PD. Gonna spawn PD right now. Yeah. Wait, careful, we're blocking counter, guys.
Yeah, no, they're gonna be PD spawns. They're gonna be PD spawns.
I'm coming B right now. Heaven right now.
No, I'm gonna spike A. I'm gonna spike A.
A weak. They're gonna push B.
I'll double spike A. I'll be B.
Trade. No, I didn't. He's in B now. In B now, weak.
Are you on ice cream?
One ice cream. CB, boys.
One tires guys pushing the.
Christian needs LB. He needs LB.
Oh, nice. Bottom mid.
I'm gonna die from behind. Bottom mid, guys.
Tires.
He's gone laundry one shot.
One laundry? Laundry, I'm with you here.
Right now.
One's heaven, one's on B somewhere, right?
Play kill, boys. Play kill, boys. They're gonna be 2 on B, I think.
I can get spikes. I'm gonna spike B, alright?
He's in it.
I'm going with you, I'm going with you. Double spike B.
It's gonna be 1 shot. Probably music.
Watch it. Yeah, he's music, weak. What tires, guys? Seeker weak. I got shot.
Kill, boys. We gotta kill. Seeker weak, guys. Purple. Watch the tires and pushing you.
Spikes.
Watch on the
push up Mike.
Pushing him. He went cone scary.
Do your thing, man. I'm gonna get A. Rockets are...
Rockets
at 25. 7. I spot C, push you. Move up, Chris. Still have it.
Really calm.
Yeah.
Really calm. Comms coming in from JLINGZ there, and the impressive thing for me is you can hear how the pieces are being put together one by one. I'm going to do this. I'm going to spike out B. You play off the damage. It's all you could ask for in this kind of situation.
Really well played there, even with Quad as the last player alive for that entire time. We'll see if the damage comes in, and with those spikes, it certainly should. You don't stand much of a chance there. That's why those spikes were so heavily prioritized during that push.
This is the first time we've seen JLINGZ under a little bit of pressure, though. You can see AB have been flipped back to Acend, and they will be scoring. A 145-60 lead is a comfortable one, without a doubt. Nobody is going to take that away from them, but it's been all done with the sandbox, with the rockets, with the power weapon control, and now you're seeing those weapons start to flip over here, but no Legend!
Yikes.
2 rockets, 0 connections, and Septic once again somehow wins an individual. He probably shouldn't have won there.
Absolutely should not have won that. And then you saw really what we were seeing from the side of Legend was he was just trying to rocket rail, because once you get the splash damage off rail, you essentially kill anything in the area, but those actually don't connect, and neither does the Beast Stairs rocket either. So what looked like it was going to be a pretty big opening for Acend is actually slowed down.
Maybe a little bit of sign of nerves. Who knows? We'll have to see how Legend kind of bounces back from that situation. Something we're not used to seeing from one of the best in Europe. But Seeker is going to move in and do the dirty work over here at B. But look at the damage that's already coming in. Septic there again. He's got that Stalker rifle on spawn, it seems like, every single time. And the most important thing is he's putting it to use. He ain't missing too many shots.
I mean, every time it's a 2-man push minimum there. Great work as they go ahead and go B stairs. They get the angles they needed, but Acend is answering back with a C-flip. Never mind.
Reset comes in, though. And how many times have we seen it? Acend just seem a little bit split on the map at the moment. They're not quite sure where they want to allocate their resources, and JLINGZ, this is playing into their hands. If they can pick off 1v1 situations or where 2 people are pushing, they know they can allocate the resources that are required. Septic gets a beat down onto Snipe Drone, who'll be traded out almost immediately, but this is a vital part of this game for both teams. JLINGZ, if they can just manage to sneak out one of these strongholds, having to, off the back of these kills that they're picking up, then they're going to start clawing past that 200-point mark. Then they're going to start thinking about that win. If it doesn't go their way, Acend could roar back.
Let's see here. Snipe Drone team with a large task ahead of him. As you say, down by 63 points at this stage. Certainly capable of clawing back in this, but they will need to change a few things to get back in the lead.
Numbers starting to pile up here for Acend. 2 players once again flying on that B stairs. And Quadios has the rockets this time. Not quite the ones we saw from Legend a few moments ago. Much more effective. But now you're seeing the slaves start to stack up here. Acend are moving on to B, and I like this from Respectful. He's getting aggressive. He's creating space for the rest of his team.
BC now back in the hands of JLINGZ, and what looked like it could have been, once again, momentary control for Acend. Will be slowed down. Oh. However, nice work from Snipe Drone in the back of Tram.
Yeah, manages to just snap onto that head when he had no shields. And you're going to see the ends being played now, but look at this swarm again coming in from JLINGZ. They get the reset once more, and there's 2 players to deal with. Even though he did some damage, that beatdown is going to allow Quadios to come in, and that's the difference so far in this game, Andy. 2v1s being isolated time and time again by JLINGZ.
I'm so surprised you see Snipe Drone thrust towards there to get into melee range. He's got a thrust in the back pocket. Why not thrust away to prevent the trade from coming in there? Once again, the little details really adding up in this match.
They are indeed, but while all of this is going down, and we're giving some credit, understandably so, to JLINGZ, look at that score at the bottom of your screen. It's getting a little bit closer here. It's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable if you're on the side of JLINGZ, knowing you've done so much, knowing you've played so well, but the games are not won at the 200-point mark. They're won at 250, and you've got to play right to the whistle.
Nice shots here from Morga. Look at the look on his face as well. Stoked on that kill. Gonna try to convert that now, as they will find 1 dead for each side. They want to keep pressuring B if they can. B work is not done yet.
Yeah, 2 players managed to come and just challenge off respawn. Not enough pressure here at B, and you have to wonder where the rest of JLINGZ are in that situation. Are they trying to push up the pink street? Are they trying to flip towards A? That looks like the play that's actually coming in. The spikes are going to come in, but there's a Bulldog here, but Seeker, again, how many times does this man just pop up in vital moments with vital doubles?
Back-to-back big resets on B coming in from Acend. First it was Respectful, then it was Seeker. He got assisted there, as well as another big kill coming in from the pillars. Once again, it's a spike push on B that was a difference maker for Acend.
How did Seeker survive there? Not only survive, but also pick up 2, 3 kills, and now he finds himself with rockets, and Quadios finds himself picking himself off the floor for a few seconds as he finds the death screen. But now you're seeing Acend roaring back into this game. It's a 10-point difference now between the 2 teams.
And another kill front C. Seeker is heating up in a big way. That killing spree is the difference maker, and right now Acend will tick into the lead after being down by 70 points.
It's taken them a while to get going, but now they have that lead and they have the numbers advantage on the map as well here. Respectful's job, protect C at all costs. You've got the weapons to do it, and it's all up to Chris Stoller and Colin JLINGZ now to make a push onto B. Try and flip one of these strongholds, because if they're not careful with the amount of time that's left in this game, it could be 1-0 to Acend.
These next few kills will be absolutely enormous in terms of how this game will end. Still trading out 1 for 1,
Seeker
but
again.
Seeker picks up another one to put JLINGZ to dead.
Morga taken down and no shields. He'll be pushed by Respectful with that Bulldog, and it's Seeker who has been the catalyst without doubt in this last last couple of minutes or so. I was about to say 5 minutes, maybe a little bit too much time to give him credit for, but Respectful now staying alive as 2:23 is on the board here for Acend, and JLINGZ need to make a play, and they need to make it now.
As you said, Respectful goes full protectful mode there, just holding things down at A and B. And this is heartbreaking for JLINGZ. Only 20 points to go for Acend to close out the game.
Snipe Drone's last alive though. Snipe Drone last alive. Septic gets the kill. Now, if you're coming off respawn, decisions have to be made here. Commitment has to be made to either A or C. Are we going to go for A? Are we going to try and reset C? It looks like the play call is A. And that kill from Morga is massive in this game, because now it looks like JLINGZ will be able to cap A, but no one's there to cap it at the moment. Finally, someone jumps into that stronghold.
Still no, Morga has to leave Cafe to finish it because they get traded out. Morga needs to make sure he's finishing this.
Don't give them the chance
no!
to reset it!
And Respectful again with a big reset late in the game, and it's 249 for Acend.
Oh, Respectful gets taken down though. 249 is not enough, as JLINGZ just about managed to secure A, but now they cannot put one toe wrong, not even a foot, or this game will be over and going to Acend.
My God, Acend. 1 point away. JLINGZ needs perfect Halo for the next 50 points.
This is a brave play coming in here from Snipe Drone. He's trying to flank. Legend gets one, and Legend is in A. That should be the game. Done and dusted, and oh, no. Morgan with a last-second play. Seeker gets the kill, but look at the reaction there from Legend. Even though Acend win that game by 250 to 200 or so, that was a lot closer and a lot more intense, I think, than they would have wanted.
I think Legend's response says it all, right? Yes, this team is favored to win. Yes, they have a lot of pressure, but each game matters to them. They're not taking any opponent lightly, of course, and it's a big win, and it's a come-from-behind win. 250 to 201 is your final score on the board. JLINGZ doing everything right for 85% of the game. That final 15% goes in the hands of Acend, and my God, did they ever run with it.
And Seeker, he made the difference. So many plays towards the end of that game. So many little double kills, little 1v1 wins when both players were no shields, whatever it was. He was the man who stepped up in the big moments, and it wasn't just the kills, it was where they were happening, Andy. It turned into points. And it felt like at the start of that game, JLINGZ were just able to pick apart Acend a little bit. 1v2s being isolated towards the end of that game on the back foot. It just looked like JLINGZ couldn't find the footing in the kills they needed to convert strongholds.
Yeah, I'd love to see the stronghold specific stats too, if we can get them. We'll see if we can get those on screen too, just because there were so many resets as well. And taking a look at damage dealt. Damage
dealt, you're looking down at the bottom there, you can see Morga standing out over 7k damage for him. On the other side, everyone just grazing over 6k. Seeker, though, the standout for Acend, 6.7k, but look at the occupation time, caps. I mean, everything's starting to stack up on the side of Acend.
Absolutely, look at that, 7 caps for Legend there, just flying all the way across the map, doing everything he needed to do to make sure that that team won the game, and that's exactly what they did.
I mean, I will say as well, Septic winning a lot of 1v1s right at the start of that game, just gave the foot on the gas a little bit of steam in the engine, so to speak, to the start that JLINGZ did get out to. But, I mean, look at the score here, Andy. 141 to 56. You look at that, and you're probably thinking, JLINGZ have got enough mistakes to make with that kind of scoreline that maybe game one should have gone their way.
And even with moments like this, with Legend bucket rocketing both rockets and maybe providing a little bit of an open, a get-out-of-jail-free card for JLINGZ, the pressure from Acend was too strong. And what I worry about, here's the play, interestingly, from Snipe Drone as well, uses a thrust to close the gap. Sometimes that'll work out for you if you get the melee before your opponent's suspecting it, but the trade is forced out in the end either way. But kills like this, look at this, Morga gets a very big kill in Red Room, but because of all the damage that was done, JLINGZ doesn't convert off of that. It's a caution tires push from Acend to shut that down once again. And even though we saw so many good moments, here we are essentially tied. Acend knew how to close out that game, and it really showed.
I think there was a clear moment in that game where I think Acend just cottoned on to what JLINGZ were trying to do. They were happy with the 2-cap. They were never really being aggressive on respawns. They were letting the push come in and thinking, we've got positions enough where we can do the damage to clean up the kills off the back of that. The problem is if it goes wrong once. We said it. If it goes wrong once and you let B flip, Acend are going to keep pressurizing you. They're going to make it very difficult to get back up to a full 4 and fight fairly on the map. And you saw it was exactly what happened towards the end of that game. They, for the first time, really lost a full team fight, and Acend really started to run away with things.
We talked about it before the series, right? Here you go. Look at that reaction from Legend there. And the rest of the team, pretty cool, calm, and collected, but you could tell he was stoked on the result for the squad. 250 to 201 is your game number 1 here on Championship Sunday. It will give Acend a 1-0 series lead.
1-0 series lead, and I tell you what, 250 to 201 maybe doesn't tell the entire story of that game, but the story doesn't really matter when we know what the conclusion is, and that is a win on the board. 1-0 now, as you say. Acend find themselves, and now we head into an interesting game. Catalyst Slayer is where we're going to be going. A lot of talk about this game type in the community, from pros, whatever it might be, about how this is one of the most difficult maps to predict. How do you see this one going, Andy? I know I've just teed it up by saying it's almost impossible to predict, but what do you think that JLINGZ have got to do, and what have Acend got to do to get the advantage here?
I think because of the way this map plays, I think we're actually going to see some pretty structured gameplay from these two teams. I think there's too much respect that they have for each other. I don't expect them to be pushing, say, Golden Ivy pushes that have a 50-50 chance. I think they're going to be playing percentage plays. Look for big control, look for team shots. This is a map where you cannot really just run around and solo and flank and get away with it. So I'm looking for structured gameplay from these two teams, but if they do find an opening to collapse, expect them to convert there. They'll get the extra 3 or 4 kills, but once again, they will retreat into that slowed down, organized gameplay that this map kind of demands.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that one thing to keep an eye on as well is that sword. And I'm not just talking about having it in your possession. It's about how you play with it as well. Overextending with a sword, running into a couple of players, a trade comes in, you give it away. And that can be the difference maker. So sword control as well as usage is going to be really, really vital here. Let's see what Snipe Drone can do off the break, though. The overshield, of course, is going to be down, bottom, middle, and off the rip here, you can see just 1 kill going to be picked up.
Septic actually grabs it on your screen. He gets that overshield pretty much for free because of good opening nades that came in from JLINGZ on the bottom of the front base.
Gonna get information as well, the way the Legend ran away. There's multiple players here from Acend just trapped, and Christona and Morgan on the flank, so now Septic says, all right, well, maybe it's my time to go, but there is the green gun. He needs the help coming in for the rest of his teammates to clean up these kills. Finally, they start to arrive. It's a 5-0 start here for JLINGZ, the perfect response from an agonizing game on loss.
All came down to the overshield. You caught it actually on the POV. It was perfect timing. We saw the players on Acend. They got naded back from their front spikes, and that laid the opening for Septic to grab the overshield uncontested, essentially. And as you say, a 5-0 lead, skewer in hand as well. But we talk about it time and time again with Acend. You cannot give them any inches to push up. That's why they're playing so structured, so organized here.
Legend's on the flank, and he's going to get caught out here. Oh, Repulsor actually helps out Christona a little bit here, but maybe not as a flood starts to come in from Acend. And considering the fact that the skewer and the sword have been in the hands of JLINGZ, this is a hell of a push coming in from Acend.
It is, and that flank from Legend, I think you and I are both a little bit worried about it. Maybe it was mistimed. In the end, it does put a lot of kills on the board for them. Next overshield coming up in 27 seconds. This is high stakes and fast-paced Halo.
Another key here for Acend and JLINGZ. You cannot let those one-shots get away. If you do damage, you have to capitalize. You have to be a little bit brave sometimes. And just a slight overextension, trying to clean up that kill to get it on the board. It's 10-5 here. Seeker once again wins an important battle on the gold side because that overshield's coming up soon, and if anyone can get hold of Grapple, look at Quad, by the way, popping off with that 1v1 win, then that overshield is going to be secured.
Overshield is up. All eyes on bottom middle now. 11-7 in favor of JLINGZ if they can secure this overshield. Septic is the man again. Does not hit the slide, but it doesn't cost him, and 0 eyes, 0 shots on him. They might be trying to wait and bait, but that's a surprising uncontested grab again.
Yeah, a little bit surprising, like you say. Very, very surprising. Just nobody from Acend taking the responsibility. Maybe it's because Respectful got that skewer and he thinks he can hit the shot, but Morgan's got the sword and he's got the flank, and that's 2 overshields in a row now, which is why JLINGZ have this lead that they do, and Snipe Drone, he's going to fall as well.
It felt like Acend was maybe just waiting and baiting to put 2 BRs on it after the grab, and they did it a little bit, but as you could tell, JLINGZ still converts. They take advantage, and just like that, off of the overshield alone, it's 16-8.
Respectful's pointed his reticle at Septic and gets the kill on the trade. The grapple was down as well as the sword, so maybe not the worst situation there. Respectful comes out with the sword and the grapple off the back of it. 17-9 though, make it 18-10 as a couple of kills will be traded. JLINGZ have turned up this morning. Yep. They are here to play. This is not going to be comfortable for Acend.
Not at all, and Acend knows that This series is going to be one to watch out for. Stored out for Respectful. Will hit one, does not hit the second, though, so those kills will be traded out 20-11. And I think JLINGZ knows as long as they apply a pretty steady gas pedal of pressure throughout the rest of this game, this really should be theirs. Of course, they'll be prioritizing this next overshield once again, and if they can continue picking up those power-ups, they should continue at this pace.
Yeah, if they get this third overshield, then there's something to worry about here for Acend, because the lack of contesting that's been going down. Wow, what a grapple play this is from Cristola! My word, the killing spree off the back of the swing into the action is exactly what you want from a player who was so clutch in that Game 5 yesterday.
That's what the grapple is built for, and to be honest, you don't see enough of it in professional Halo. Occasionally see a bizarre play like that, but that's what the grapple's for. When your team has opening damage, it's not just for winging around the back of the map for a scenic tour of Catalyst. You want to use that fly-in, hit a drop slide along with it, and clean up the damage on the kills. That will continue their 10-kill lead. They're still up now 25-16.
7-3 for Cristola as well. He's been playing so well here in Valencia. I was kind of discussing with Gaskin a few moments ago. Let's go back to that, because you did see that overshield being picked up by Acend for the first time, but it looks like it's been neutralized pretty quickly.
It certainly was, and JLINGZ, despite not grabbing the OV, as you say, they were quick to get to it. Double kill killing spree and a little bit of a 360 style flare for Legend. That will bring them within 7, and a little bit of deja vu here. Acend is looking to climb back. JLINGZ need to make sure they don't repeat game number 1.
Starting to see a few individual battles being taken here that maybe you don't have to when you have that lead. The one thing to say here, if you stood behind them, if you're the coach, boys, just play together. Do not let them get away without being traded out. Let's make sure we keep this lead. And Acend are now back in this game. It's 5 kills. The difference between the two. Respectful has to put on his sneakers and run away as quickly as possible and hides behind the ivy.
Not a bad place to look at this push here from JLINGZ. That's the characteristic JLINGZ push as they send multiple players there, and some good team shots, though, answered by Acend. Acend is now within 5. Can they repeat? Let's go to an Astro listening with Acend.
Ivy, one shot septic. One shot Ivy, bro. Nice.
Absolute on the sneaky still.
Still here.
Nice.
Let's go, guys. I'm gonna go, guys. I have a sword.
I'm gonna play bottom here, Mike. I mean, like,
Someone get to me.
I've got a grapple.
Yeah,
I've got a grapple for next to V. Just wait for it.
Yeah, 2 guys there. Night ping.
One on me. One weak, I think.
That one's one shot, Chris.
There was another one low.
Nice, bro. One
car one on me, I'm pretty sure. Car one weak.
V15.
Weak on you, Brand.
Nice.
Another guy weak on you, Brand. On the hole.
I think car one.
This one, I died. Sword on Repulsor. Sword down on Repulsor.
2 guys defect.
Car 2, car 2.
I'm dead. OV soon.
Ah, yeah.
The sword on Repulsor if you got it.
They will play for this OV.
Yeah.
Tu peux pas grave. I'm watching guys.
One guy P2 watching it. We have to.
On their spikes.
I'm trying to make a move into our
Weak on their spikes, Septic. Really weak on their spikes.
I'm gonna
Guy
try.
below me, Legend, pushing me.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Me, bro.
Might go FDS. Oh, no, he's P2.
One guy cut septic.
One shot septic.
Another one here.
Where is he?
He was cut for sure. A guy P2.
Weak catwalk.
It's cut, just weak.
P2 weak.
Vargas one shot.
Behind you weak, Mike.
I'm looking.
I've got OS.
You was there, bro. Car one.
I've got OS, it's fine.
Vargas on me. I died. Both down there.
What an interesting series of events here for these teams. Finally, we're seeing some grapples connect. 29-33. It's an overshield grab in the end, somehow, for Sika and Acend. And while Morga's staying alive, Sika's just getting melted and burned. The game now within 5, and lots to talk about during that listening.
Yeah, lots to talk about indeed, and we'll talk about it in just a second, because look at the score. It's important that we highlight that right now, because Acend got back into it. Even though those grapple plays were straight up miscalculated when they did try and get that overshield initially, they secured it, but they got back into the game. But JLINGZ in the last few minutes, with that sword, have again established this 6-kill lead.
They also neutralized the overshield. Now that the game slows down for just a second, it'll give us a chance to talk about a few things. The first thing, of course, Acend now being half French, half English. You're hearing, of course, a lot more English being spoken, of course, in the comms, which just changes things a little bit for the French players. But, I mean, you called it, they had 5 grapples across them, and they had 2, oh God, arms stuck in the doorway there. That did not look good as well, regardless of how strong that Spartan armor might be. There, finally, it will be laid to its final resting place as the doorway will open. 31-37. It's now a 6-kill lead, but let's be honest. Acend not only botched those grapple plays on the overshield, I think they could have gotten a much more successful overshield push. You need to know exactly what those grapple distances are. It's about 24 meters or so, and you better be pre-planning at home your grapples. Where can you grapple from? You should know the exact spot on the map where you can grapple the overshield from. You cannot afford to be missing grapples on the overshield for about 15 seconds of play.
And at the moment, it's costing them. Look at the score. You're just seeing kill after kill after kill as we find ourselves now back on the POV of the last Acend player standing. It's going to be Snipe Drone. Overshield was up, and here comes Quadios. It's another Overshield going over to JLINGZ, and this is the most important one of the game.
JLINGZ has played the better Halo in this game. There's absolutely no doubt about it. They're up 42-31, and for good reason. They have just looked a lot better as a team, prioritizing these power-ups, and even when they did not have control, they somehow find a way back due to the gaps in the Acend armor.
Look at the bravery here from Quad as well, just clambers up, knew the damage was done, the trust in his teammates, and the call-outs they were making that he could make that move. And now Respectful's going to get grenaded, he's going to get taken down, and at the moment, JLINGZ are looking so good, and Quad is 13-9.
Fantastic numbers from him, and to be honest, across the board, Septic also 12-7. Everyone in the game positive at this stage, and they're looking so good. The assist column looking great as well.
Look at this brave push again here from Quad. He's creating a distraction, trying to be aggressive, trying to take the game to Acend. This is what Acend do to people normally. And Morgan's getting that first pick once more. As Seeker tries to fly out, Quad's dancing around this pole, and there is Septic with the sword again.
Kills eventually will be traded out in favor of Acend, but it certainly looks like too little too late. 48-34 in favor of JLINGZ. They only need 2 more kills to go.
Here's the flank from Morgan. Unfortunately, just didn't hit the 2-shot melee. Little moments like that might hurt because Respectful now has that sword, but Respectful, they've got a little bit over aggro there, but that's a full team wipe. That was 4 dead for JLINGZ. I tell you what, we've seen some comebacks on this map. It is not over yet.
Not over yet. It will be an enormous mountain to climb for Acend, and they have to be kicking themselves right now, because if they did this about 4 minutes ago, this game would be a very different score line. That's it. JLINGZ will find the kills. They were inevitable, and they will close out the game with a final score of 50-38.
Such interesting stories on this stage and in this series and in this tournament for both of these teams. Acend, dominant. Online, 599 days, whatever you want to say about it. Land a different place. JLINGZ look a different team, and JLINGZ tie up the series at 1-1 as we head into game number 3.
Take a look at the stats in just a second, but it was really all JLINGZ all game. I think we need to talk about it though. Acend botching the grapples on the overshield, and then when they finally do grab the overshield, they are not able to convert in the way that they needed to. Here's a look at the numbers.
And I've got to point it out, Snipe Drone. They say on the desk it's very rare you see a bad game from Snipe Drone. I can't remember a bad game from Snipe Drone. 4-11. It's probably the first one you're going to see for some time, and I'm sure he'll bounce back in game number 3 and put that wrong right for sure, but that is a stat line that you can't have if you're one of the main slayers on your team.
And I think what we saw there was JLINGZ just being the aggressors, not just on the overshield grabs, but also on the damage. They were not afraid to push out.
I mean, look at the assist column.
Yeah.
You can see the difference between the teams. The team shooting was just much better that came in from JLINGZ, even without those power weapons, than it did from Acend. It transfers into kills, it transfers into easier 1v1 opportunities, and it transfers into a 50-38 scoreline. And I think something just to take away from this game as well, if we just take ourselves back to game 1, and the way that JLINGZ dominated so much, they let that one slip. In this game, Acend made a comeback, but they were able to hold their nerve.
And that has been the story of JLINGZ, is what does their mental fortitude look like this weekend? They've been tested. Let's not forget yesterday. Here's the push from Crystal. Look at this. A grapple slide through, capitalizes on the damage with barely any shields after that for the killing spree. And look at this, these characteristic pushes, once again, of JLINGZ. They move together so quickly and as such a cohesive unit. Really paid off on the scoreboard. This was the play that happened just after that overshield, and Quadios gets the next one as well for the home stretch.
Yeah, it was an effective use of overshields as well. We did see Acend get a couple, but they weren't really impactful on the game because you saw JLINGZ just melt them, or maybe a little bit of a misplay from the overshielded play. Whatever it was, they were not transferred into a rally of kills like JLINGZ did. And there was a few misplays for sure around that overshield that cost Acend, but that's where we find ourselves now, heading into oddball recharge, and JLINGZ probably want to get back into this one as quickly as possible.
I tell you what, I'm having a great time here. This is the way we want to start off Championship Sunday. Back and forth, tug of war between two titans of European Halo here. They each have a game on the board, and the question is just how long will the series go? As you say, oddball recharge going to be our next game type, and I have to say it, you would not see the best in the world making those mistakes that we saw. When the likes of Sentinels, when the likes of C9, to use North American examples, when they show up at a LAN, they know their grapple distances to the power-ups. You cannot afford to be just shooting grapples at the overshield and hoping that you're within 24 meters and hoping that you snake them, and then you hesitate, and then you miss another one, and then you drop down and you don't convert on the overshield. If Acend doesn't win this series, if they don't win this tournament, they're going to be going back to the VODs, and they're going to be wondering, how did we show up here at the largest Halo event in European history with a $100,000 prize pool and we didn't know exactly the distances to grab the power-ups.
How do we make such basic mistakes?
Right.
That's the worrying thing, right? That's not a complicated thing to know. You should be in a position where you should be able to grapple that back without any kind of problems. And even though it might seem like a minor thing, it's the butterfly effect, right? They now know you have the grapple because they can hear the audio cue. They now know that they have to make a play on it. They now know that they have to get eyes on whatever side they hear that audio. All of these things contribute towards that scoreline that happens right at the end of that game. And all smiles on the side of JLINGZ, understandably so, but those smiles will be wiped off the faces now if Acend come back in this game number 3. And let me tell you, oddball, recharge, Acend historically extremely strong.
And they should be here as well. That's what they'll expect to bring to the main stage. The question is, how do they bounce back? A tough result for them in that last game, and those mistakes might be fresh in their mind, but they need to now focus up on oddball recharge. And the best thing about this series, and I dare say the best thing about this championship Sunday, is there are no guarantees. There's a lot of question marks and things yet to be answered here, and I have been saying it. I think this is the first time I've been in a LAN at this size with this prize pool where we do not know how the top 3 is going to shake out, and the same applies to this series. Anything can happen here in game number 3.
100%, and that's why we love the LAN environment, right? Online's great. We love online competition. It gives us an indication of what teams are playing well, who's looking strong, but who's got the bottle? Who's got the nerve? Who's got the balls to make plays when it comes to the live environment with a crowd here, with people watching at home? That's what you find out right now, and that's what we're seeing. The question posed to Acend and both JLINGZ as we head into game number 3, the swing game in the series.
It absolutely is. Both teams playing this a little bit slow. Actually, as Respectful and Seeka will fall. JLINGZ right now getting the better of the opening.
They certainly are. Snipe Drone in a 1v1 here, and he wins it, but immediately traded out. Acend find themselves 3 dead, and Cristola's got the camo.
See what Legend does here. He was the last player alive and just wants to stay alive long enough to help his team. And Cristola actually gets spotted out with the camo. Cannot afford to let that happen. That was a risky route, and it does not pay off.
Really good play there from Seeka. Again, Respectful with the grapple as well. That's a little bit more effective just inside of the range. He was saying, boys, drop me the grapple next time and I'll get the job done. But early time on the board here for Acend, and I like the play as well from Respectful. Even though they didn't really have the numbers, he knew he had the gold advantage and that JLINGZ were over the other side. If you have that grapple, it's a risk-free play just to get a few seconds on the board.
Absolutely, and look at the timing as well. Unlike what we saw yesterday, you don't need to start sprinting with the ball. You can hold on glass for a second and get a lay of the land. Understand where your teammates are, where are they taking damage, where are your opponents respawning, and just like that, it's a clean 17 points on the board for Acend.
And they're picking up the kills off the back of it as well. Seeka and Legend combining towards the tower to stop that push coming in. Cristola gets taken down as well, and there's one final player here to deal with, and that's going to be Morga, who gets taken down immediately by Legend. So a perfect setup, a perfect hold, a 4-0 swing in the kills, and a 25-point lead here for Acend.
This is much more like it from the Acend side, up 30-0. This is the calculated double kill cluster luck that we expect from Snipe Drone to the squad. It's 3 dead again. Morga is the last player alive again. It will be continued points for Acend.
I just want to take a second there to break something down that Snipe Drone actually did, that maybe people are thinking, why didn't he just challenge that guy? You know, he's the 3rd kill in front of him. He gets that double kill and he realizes that that player is completely irrelevant to where that oddball is. He then takes himself to try and help the closest players who are challenging the oddball player, and then that player, everyone can turn their attention to him overwards. So great prioritization coming in from Snipe Drone in that situation. Even though it might seem like a minor thing, that's what separates the best in the world.
It was 3 dead again. Septic was the last player alive, so he was forced to hit the play ball, but not before it's 52-0. Legend tries to go full Superman up into the sneaky, but he pays the price. Regardless, though, a lot of points on the board for Acend, but if we're honest, even scarier is the way that they're playing.
Yeah, I agree. This is like the Acend we would expect to see, and with Respectful with a camouflage and a shock, potentially, and a sword. He leaves the shock for now, but this is looking like a tough break. And the difficulty now for JLINGZ, not just the fact that they're getting outslayed pretty heavily, and Septic at the moment currently sat on 0-5 in this first round, is that the lead means they don't have to think about the oddball too much now. They can just play for kills.
Right, that's exactly what they're going to do. They know if they just get the opening damage here, they can continue to push. And Cristola now with a little bit of points on the board finally for JLINGZ, but it took him a while.
Seeka should be finished off here, but somehow Seeka stayed alive and did a lot of damage. Legend going to be pushing. Grenade will deal with him. 2 dead per side at the moment. Respectful on that flank with the sword, though. We'll get the double kill, but Septic there to get the trade. So JLINGZ have to play the ball. They're forced to throw it off the map, and even though the kills were in their favor, even though they had that hold, only 8 points on the board to show for it.
Yeah, look at Snipe Drone with the pipe spawn as well. He's going to fly in here and do a whole bunch of damage, and JLINGZ, like you said, they were forced to hit the play, but Acend got into pipes right away. There are a little bit of helpful spawns coming in, and now Snipe Drone going to have the shock on top bat and pipes and look to pop off and continue scoring even further.
Gets the information as well where the spawns are. Something as small as that means that now Acend can turn all of their attentions towards the elevator, towards the turbine, and towards that pipes, and the ball is moving, understandably, away from that as well. And Snipe Drone is going to have the opportunity to hit one shot, which could completely change how this push starts to circumstate itself in this map. But for now, he's not going to get the opportunity to even fire a shot with that shock rifle as a strong push comes in now from JLINGZ.
Yeah, a little bit of a rotate attempt-ish there to throw at C platform, respectful. Right now, JLINGZ has been successful in this push. They will get 2 dead. They're looking for even more if they want to get control on the board, but really interesting back and forth between these two teams. It was a nice hold in pipes. 5 grenades were thrown by Snipe Drone, but in the end, it's matched by a great push from JLINGZ.
Seeing a little bit of a setup here from JLINGZ, but it's a little bit of a wobbly looking one, to be honest with you. It's not a full setup, and because of it, it's allowed one player from Acend here, Legend, to sneak away with that power-up. Now they need to locate him. They know that a couple of players are dead. They need to find the damage. They need to capitalize and take him out of the game as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they're going to find that oddball getting thrown off the map nice and quickly. Septic in position for the play. Now, can they take down Legend? Snipe Drone there to keep him alive.
2 dead for both sides momentarily as well. The ball will be forced to be played off. Trades there for Snipe Drone and Quadios. 2 alive for each side, and it's actually going to be Chris who tries to sneak away, get the ball up to top gold.
Yeah, really like this play, to be honest, from Cristola. If Morgan can pick up a kill here, keep an eye on that feed, and it's going to create just enough space and get the information again required for JLINGZ to put together a hold and a rotation. That's exactly what's happening right now. Septic is going to challenge maybe a little bit too aggressively there on the double stacks, and now maybe another playable opportunity, but better here from JLINGZ, starting to find their footing here.
Really nice from Legend there. He stays alive in pipes, and he continually clambers and mantles up and down from bat ledge just to be able to stay alive. Then he continues to do that damage, like you say, on the 2-stack. Actually, somehow, Legend's still alive in batteries this entire time and continuing to deal damage. He's still here with the shock in bats. I think he might now have the record for longest time spent in batteries consecutively. And Acend, 85-42 here. Only 15 points away from the first round.
Splash down for Morga, and it might be the end of round 1 here for JLINGZ as well, unless they can start to string together a couple of kills. A trade comes in from Septic. That's a double, and that's 3 dead for Acend. So Cristola, if he can get around this corner, should be able to survive and should be able to at least put a little bit of time on the board. But there's only one player alive here. Someone take the responsibility to pick up that oddball.
Chris actually prioritizes not grabbing the ball and grappling back up to gold, interestingly. There's only 1:30 on the clock, so they're going to need to get 1 or 2 more kills here if they really want to make these points count. The kills do come in. Sika and Respectful, so Cristola there playing that wisely, prioritizing his life before the ball grab. In the end, it pays off perfectly for them.
Got to be careful here, though. I know they don't have any more mistakes. 1 break, 1 hold from Acend, and this would be the first round going back to them. Snipe Drone challenging Cristola. Really smart play, not just to do the damage, but to survive for now. But the communication coming in from Sika is enough to clean up the kills. And now on the flank, his name is Snipe Drone. He's difficult enough to deal with when you see that gamer tag over his head, even more when he's got that camo.
Sika must have thrown those bat ledge nades from Whirlpool-ish or something. I have no idea how he tossed those nades, but in the end, was it ever a perfect play? Because that's 3 dead for JLINGZ and Septic. Last player alive, everyone spawning C and long haul.
And this should be the final hold here. You can see the ball is at elevator. Snipe Drone with another kill here. It's the last player of that first wave, and that means that the first round will go into the hands of Acend here, looking extremely strong, to be honest with you, Andy. It looked like that was far too simple at times for them.
Talked about players who need to step up after less than ideal games. Look at Snipe Drone now, 15-7 in that first round.
Yeah, that's what he does. He, as I say, he has a rare bad game, and he'll know it more than anyone, and he'll want to put that right. And he's doing exactly that in this oddball game here in Game 3. Such a vital game in the series here.
Really is.
Momentum can completely go either way.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. This game is going to be a big swing game. Nice job here from Septic, and what a privilege here, what a pleasure to watch. Really a lot of royalty of European Halo here. A nice little alley-oop from Morga up to the bat ledge. That will be continued time, and Morga just putting down some pings. Then perfect timing on the damage. Look at this. With the assist as well. That's 2 dead. JLINGZ should make sure that they get these last few kills.
Looks like they'll be able to as well. Seeker's last alive. He'll be taken down much better here from JLINGZ. But I want to see that ball in the hand almost immediately. Cristola will pick it up. One thing that maybe has been a little bit off is just being a little bit more unselfish when it comes to holding that ball. Sometimes you've got to take a little bit of damage while you're holding that odd ball. Sometimes you've got to prioritize just getting into a position to scrap up a few extra seconds before you get engaged in the fighting. It looks like maybe JLINGZ are a little bit too prepared to fight too early.
Double kill for Sika. He will also assist on the 3rd as well. Another thing that's been interesting about that first round, Mark, and curious to hear your thoughts, about very low percentage of rotations. This is not a rotate-heavy game at all. It's been a lot more control-based, which is not generally the case when you're talking about recharge ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're only seeing 15 or 20 seconds at a time from both teams. You're not seeing 30 seconds, 45. Yes, it's difficult to do, and maybe the opportunities weren't there. The cut-offs were being made by other players, but now you're seeing Snipe Drone again with the ball in his hands this time. Not only the kills, he can do the objective as well.
That's right. Generally, when you see a game that is not rotate-heavy at this level, nice work from Snipe Drone, but those kills will be traded out, potentially a team nade, unless something got eked out just at the end. But the reason that you're seeing a lot less rotations is not due to a failure of the ball-carrying team, but it's actually, like you say, great pressure from the other side. And you have two teams that are this evenly matched. They know exactly where to fly off spawn. They're actually going to block those rotations.
Now, this is an opportunity for JLINGZ to put time on the board. The camo is coming up, and we have seen Acend kind of controlling the camo for the majority of this game. And now you're going to see a bit of a challenge, and it's going to be Morga who gets it. So JLINGZ have a power-up to play with now. They have Seeker with the ball that they've got to deal with, of course, here at top elevator, and the play ball should come in pretty quickly. And they need to make this play quickly, because as I say, we've seen so many rounds come down to 1-2 seconds right at the end. You need to deal with that ball carrier ASAP.
Acend was aware of that camo grab. They were already pre-nading Mangler door. Respectful just gatekeeping on it and doing it very well, still staying alive. And he's holding down this Mangler door. You can't come through. Doesn't matter if you have camo. What a set of plays by Acend to just counter that camo.
Look at JLINGZ though. JLINGZ is scarping away with this ball, and they're moving it towards where the setup is. Seeker though with the remote detonation will pick up one. That's another kill falling in the feed as well. And even though I like the idea there from Cristola, I don't think the damage was done for him to get away safely.
Agree, 3 dead for JLINGZ there. Cristola will be off of the respawn. It will be continued time. They tried to break into the jewelry store. They tried to get away with the goods in the end. Acend was wise to it. Let's look at the numbers here. 20 and 12 already from Snipe Drone. He is continuing to lay it down. He wants to add even more to the total with a shock rifle in hand.
Vibes for now, knows there's pressure coming from multiple different angles, gets a beat down, but not that kill. Respectful tries to trade it out, not going to happen for now. It does have the sword, and maybe that's scared off Cordios a little bit, and presents him with the easiest kill of his life as he turns away.
Nice little dance there from Respectful, goes around the corner, lets his shields recharge, and thought he might be able to juke, and juke he does. 61-23 now in favor of Acend in our second round.
Very similar to what we saw in the first round score-wise. Kind of a 30-40 point lead here for Acend, which means that they don't have to overthink the game. They can play for kills, they can play their lives, they can force mistakes here from JLINGZ and allow them to overextend for that oddball. And you can see that's clear what the game plan is here for Acend. Seeker has the ball in his hand, but Respectful, he's not worried about anyone across map right now. He's just taking care of those stairs towards gold and that glass push coming in.
Once again, Respectful just going protectful. Just holding down the top. He's very happy to sit there with the sword. Seeker will even just add a little more annoying points on the board from batteries, and in doing so, plays the ball as well. But 3 dead. Respectful was last player alive. He might have the sword, but he's also going to need to pray a bit here and somehow going to get away long haul.
Yeah, somehow survives, but JLINGZ have got away with the ball. But look at the score, 83-30. JLINGZ have a set up, and once again, Respectful just comes back and says, I'm still here. I still have the sword.
How patient was Respectful there with the 6% left he had on the energy store?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to put this to good use no matter what it takes. He runs away to long haul and he comes back around the corner. So far, he's been sneaky. Look at the points on the board.
My name is Respectful, and I've never known defeat. Elden Ring fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. 98 points on the board, though, and one thing you do know for sure if you're a Halo fan is that Acend will take the swing map here. It's 2-0 on Recharge Oddball, and that was a much, much more controlled performance from Acend.
When you talk about a swing game type, it's a heavy swing. That's an undisputed victory for Acend after what was a less than perfect Game 2 Slayer. They are back in control of not only the scoreboard, but you have to think the momentum and the energy on the main stage as well.
So now, just a little bit of time to reset for the side of JLINGZ. What's going through the minds of these players right now? It's almost like, I always think in these games, right? It's like, okay, we had a really tight first game. By the way, Snipe Drone, oh my God, what a way to respond with 23 and 14. 11 KDA, very, very impressive. But just to go back to the point I was making previously, it's like you get to that game 3, it's a really important game, it's a swing game, but sometimes it's as strange as it sounds, it's almost better to just be outplayed and lose by a considerable margin than to have a super tight game and then fall over at the last hurdle, right?
Certainly agree. And you even just look at the side of JLINGZ, right? As we said, this is a team that's been riding momentum since they got on site on Friday. And I think for them, they throw that game on the back burner, right? Don't worry about that game at all. Focus up on this next game type as we take a look at some replays here from that last game. It was all Acend all the way, and really once they started heating up, it was all too easy for them.
It certainly was indeed, and I think if you're JLINGZ, you're saying, okay, not our game type. Never mind, that one's gone. Let's see what we can do in the next one. But the highlights most of the time will be on the Acend side of things, and the control was the thing that really kind of stood out for me. Nobody was overextending. Nobody was getting hungry for kills. Everybody knew their responsibility and what angles they had to be holding. Respectful of that sword in and around pipes was such a nuisance to try and take care of. And every time that JLINGZ got 1 or 2 kills, you knew that Respectful was going to be there to trade and make that ball almost obsolete.
Great plays here from Morga, but once again, it was just not enough. Off the respawn, Acend was flying and ready to do the damage that they needed to. And look at this play. Look at this play. So glad we have this in the highlights here. Look at this. Morga has camo and he can't go anywhere. He's getting naded from top gold. Manglador's getting naded. Respectful will bounce around the doorway. That's the way you shut down a camo perfectly. They have no idea where he is, but they know the only routes that he has.
Yeah, it's great to show how stifling the pressure can be from Acend as well, right? Even if you see Morga in that position, he's in tower, he's chilling, but then as soon as 2 kills fall, and his 2 teammates fall, just multiple grenades, multiple pieces of pressure, and he can't move. And why he can't move for that 5-10 seconds? Acend turn it into ball time.
Right, and they neutralize the camo as well. That's the plays I expect to see, as Acend will take that game 2-0. They will also take the series lead 2-1. That's the opposite side of the missed grapples, right? That's Acend playing, hey, they eagle eye camo mid-bridge. They know he's stuck bottom control, and all of a sudden they're perfectly playing against a player they can't even see. That's the perfection we expect to see from Acend. If they can keep that up through this weekend, they will win the tournament. The question is, if they are up to the task.
Well, now they've got to be organized once more. Aquarius capture the flag is going to be the game type. And this is the last chance here for JLINGZ to come back in this series and be involved in another game 5, because they have been having some fun in game 5s when they've been coming out on the right side of it. But CTF Aquarius, a tough ask, especially with Acend starting to look very, very organized in their objective game types.
And you have to think, the longer these game types go, the longer the series goes, Acend is going to look better and better, and JLINGZ needs to make sure that if they start to get some flags on the board, they end this quickly. I think if this goes to the full-time limit, Acend wins the game.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that it's going to be down to some of those individual battles. We've seen the teamwork is starting to click on both sides of things, right? We can see the clear plan of attack from JLINGZ. It's going 2s, try and flood areas of the map. Acend trying to hold angles a little bit more than maybe we've seen previously when they had Shady on the team, and they're trying to team fight with the angles of map control. We're going to have to see what works out here as we're into our game number 4. The opportunity for JLINGZ to send us to a game 5 in the first series of the day, but also for Acend to close things out.
You also bring up a great point there about angles and holding control. In that game of oddball, it was a lot about angles and control. For example, Respectful just staying alive top gold with the sword, being a nuisance. Let's see if they bring that into this game as well. It's certainly a map that can allow that, but if JLINGZ can answer back with the pressure, they could maybe overwhelm that strategy.
Will be one here, will be one by Septic. That's 2 dead here for Acend. Septic trying to be aggressive on Respectful as well. Maybe slightly too aggressive in that circumstance, but I like the idea to put that pressure on. Quadio to be dealt with as well. Kill feed, always interesting to keep your eyes on. We have an idea of who has the weapons, and it's actually going to be JLINGZ who have control of that heat wave.
We talked about what a privilege it is to see all these players here. They're titans of European Halo. The heat wave's going to come in for Morga, and JLINGZ will pick up a few of those kills, but Acend answer right back with a few big trades. But one thing we're seeing here on the main stage is just veterans on display, right? These guys have all been on European main stages time and time again, and it's amazing to see the cameras on main stage. These guys are cool, calm, and collected. They know what they need to do, but now the pressure is on JLINGZ.
Interesting start here in the game. It seems like JLINGZ have a very clear plan on how they want to attempt to play this game. Full car side control. They want to run that flag through the gens. They want to control the bridges. They want to control both of the closets. For Acend, they're just kind of having to deal with it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how JLINGZ react if we see a little bit of mid-map control coming in from Acend, a little bit of pink control coming in from them, and if they can work the other side of the map as well.
Here's the push, back base, and Fridge is the position here for the side of JLINGZ, and right away they make sure to get out of the Fridge. Quadio's not wasting any time. Septic also trying to help, but my goodness, it's a fantastic thrust double trade from Sika. 4 dead for JLINGZ.
4 dead for JLINGZ, and again, Sika just making double kills happen where he probably shouldn't have. From there, Snipe Drone gets that flag all the way back to the courtyard, but Acend lose 2 players in the process, as Legend now looks to flank up above on Pink and try and clean up some of these overextenders. But no, Cristola is going to take down Respectful. Respectful didn't look too happy with it, but it was a misplay from him.
Arm extended there, wondering what on earth just happened, and now the flag's going to be returned while the other one starts.
Quadio's got this one back as well. Snipe Drone and Respectful, though, pick up kills off the respawn. Morga's going to try and force this one through. The problem is he can't get too close. because I thought the snipe drone might have just bounced a grenade into them. So a little bit of a flag standoff here between the two teams.
Uh-oh. Double team here. It's a good gen push coming from Acend. They have numbers as well.
They have numbers. Quad, though, in a great position. Needs to pick up the kill from on Seeker, though. He has to get this kill. He gets the kill, but again, Seeker probably shouldn't have lived there long enough to trade out.
Could not agree more. Cristola with top mid, but right now they have to keep an eye on these flags.
Respectful challenging. He has the thrust and touch in from Legend as well. Legend will force this one back into the gen. Seeker is going to be there to help out his longtime teammate, but both players down to low shields. Push coming in from Quadios, but the return will also come in, and that will be Acend making the most of the situation they found themselves in. They get the kills required. They get that first cap, but they've got to be careful here because the counter cap is running.
What a run from Morga. What a run, just dancing in between the shots. He's all the way to the straight stairs. Staying alive is huge. They only had 2 dead during the run, but Morga knows the exact angles to play to counter cap with only a minor advantage.
So important for the mentals here of JLINGZ as well. Go down by 1, lose the flag standoff. Oh, boys, we could have had that. We could have had that flag. We should have had that flag. None of that from JLINGZ. They answer back immediately. We're tied up at 1-1.
Such an interesting set of caps there. What you saw was Acend dropping the flag on the connector from Gen. They wait, they let their shields recharge, then they bring the flag in comfortably. However, in doing so, they gave JLINGZ a lot of time to set up some damage, to set up a counter, and that's exactly what happens. And to be honest, if Morga dies during that pink 1 run, that flag probably doesn't come home. Morga somehow stays alive and plays the perfect angles as he comes across bottom mid into the court and up the straight stairs.
3v3 on the map at the moment. Respectful needs to win this. Big trade coming in from Quadios. If you get that first damage and you're going against a Heatwave player, you better make it count. Legend, though, is going to get another touch on this one. It's a little bit scrappy, this run, as Acend now have full numbers. JLINGZ lose 2 while this run is going down. Big kills from Snipe Drone. Legend now has the way cleared.
Should be home unless there's a player we're not seeing here that's overextending. This one really should go in, no problem. Thrust is also going to bring it in even quicker. Acend looking very good. They answer back, and what you have to think was a pretty big mental cap for them as well.
100%, and it was the timing, right? The timing. Legend gets the touch on the flag as soon as he throws it into the gen. Snipe drone, bang, bang, 2 kills, which means that the rest of the teammates can be at least held and taken care of. Great efficiency coming in there from Acend, but Quad looking to answer back once more, but unfortunately for him, the teammates fall.
Goes for the Needler there. You have to think maybe if he just tried to land a 2-shot melee, could have gotten away with it. In the end, he will fall, so things will reset for JLINGZ. They find themselves 2 dead, and Acend looking to heat up once again. As we said, we expect the longer this game goes, the better Acend will look.
Legend can have the chance to run this flag once more. A little bit of clamber activity for him. But now he finds himself as the last player alive, and by pulling that flag, JLINGZ are going to know where he is. Another touch on the flag as he rotates back. Maybe trying to think about dealing with a spawner on the other side of the map. This is where the action is really going down. Septic going to be running this one. Little bit of a misstep. He's got the heat wave, which means that anybody pushing behind should be dealt with.
They pick up the first 2. 2 dead here. This run should continue. Both flags are out, but don't forget, Legends was just a pull into the gen. JLINGZ is taking a lot of time, wasting a lot of time here.
This. Get the flag moving. Yes, you know there's 2 players still alive, but find them on the way back. You've got the numbers advantage, and then deal with that second wave. They started picking up the kills they needed to. Snipe Drone gets the camo. He'll fall down into the courtyard. But again, the return needs to come in here. They need to push this flag. A Snipe Drone is a snake in the grass here. If he gets this free, this would be absolutely heartbreaking for JLINGZ. Where is that flag? 2-4, Seeker now trying to make a play.
Seeker wisely pre-nades the flag, but oh my god, Septic, this is a huge kill. If he gets it on some extra shots in the body as well.
Still needs to put the flag in though. Morga still has work to do, and that should be enough of the heavy lifting now done. They should be able to send this flag back home, but nobody's taking the risk right now. 2v2 on the map once more. Respectful falling down. Someone jump on that flag return. Everyone from Acend is down.
There we go. In the end, they will put the flag in. JLINGZ on the board 2-2, and a complicated flag run to say the very least as it comes back home. But in the end, you gotta give the hero play to Septic, who actually gets behind the gen flank of Acend to pick up that kill on what would have almost certainly been a flag return. We are now tied 2-2.
Just remember as well that Seeker had the heat wave in that situation as well. So 2 big chunks and he was dead. He had to hit every single shot and certainly connect with that headshot if they wanted to convert that flag. That is what happened. And now we find ourselves at 2-2. Now the close games, they've gone the way of Acend. JLINGZ, I feel like the next flag is so important for them.
massive here, this next flag, and even with 4:30 on the clock, it could be a game-deciding one. Acend going to start the run here, actually pink side.
Pink side smart as well, because they had a player inside of the fridge. Let's see how the comms are on this run. It's a massive moment in the game. Jumping into a listening now with Acend.
P2, where's the guy from base?
Okay, quick,
watch out bottom mid, Chris. Watch out bottom mid, Chris. He's inside bottom mid.
Nice.
I'm ending this. Maybe I'll flag it, yeah?
I'll flag.
I'm going behind
Camo
flag
5,
guy.
Camo 5. I'm gonna try to get Camo.
Is that top gen?
On nades.
Watch out, top gen.
I've got Camo in 12.
Make the reef.
Number gonna touch, top gen.
I'm gonna play for him,
Nice. Nice.
Car one somewhere. Car 2, Seeker, car 2.
Make the reef.
Above you.
I'm gonna make the ring now.
Nice.
I've got it. No, one gang touch. I can't. If you're from counter.
I'm one shot, bro. They're gonna push me, Jen. They're gonna push me. They're gonna push me.
Go on, Jen.
Septic's one shot.
Watch out on nades.
Nice. Do that.
2-2.
Yes, I've got a touch.
I'll get that front base.
Looking.
One guy on flag, I think. Yeah, flag.
Yeah, flag on me.
Touch it, Seeker. Touch it. Push it, Seeker.
Z.
Nice, bro.
Trying to get to your ledge.
Watch that flag.
They're Jen as well, they're Jen.
Can't see him, Legend. Can't see him.
That's dead.
They're Jen, there was a guy, they're Jen. Watch out the Jen.
Swinging free jump.
Watch out the Jen with Frost.
I need a top Jen.
Two they're Jen.
Top Jen. Marcus one shot that flag. Marcus one shot that flag.
Watch out that flag. Watch that flag.
Marcus one shot as well.
Watch out that flag.
Flag, pistol out together.
Watch out that flag.
Where is he? Where is he?
Flag, Vergen and flag.
Dude, it's one Jen, spawn Jen.
I'm gonna touch, I'm gonna push forward.
Might go Jen, mate. Might go Jen. It's on you, nades.
I mean, it's a flag standoff that's gone on for quite some time now. Septic's back in the base here for JLINGZ. He's responsible for the flag. But how much is Seeker doing while we're in that listening?
I mean, Seeker's doing the work of two, maybe three players there. He's running the flag, he's keeping it alive, he's doing damage across the map, and now he's the one that's also pushing in.
He's saying, do you know what? I've had enough of looking at things. I'm going to go do it myself. Septic's forced to throw that flag out into the front of the base. Septic survives. Seeker still alive. Not quite sure how he's managing to do this, but you might as well put a cape on Seeker at the moment because this is super Seeker.
Trying to go hero mode. Staying alive here on the bottom of the straight stairs. Took an extra nade, but still not cleaned up. Honestly, JLINGZ needed to find him. They needed to clean up this kill. He's still behind enemy lines. Here he is.
Now he's going to pop out and deal with Morga. Morga staying alive for now. Morga just buying a little bit of time. Septic still can't finish him off. Respectful now finishes him off. And it's all Seeker again. They need to deal with him here, JLINGZ. But this is looking like a flag return opportunity now for Acend.
Flag certainly should go. That will be a return there. It's on the straight stairs bridge. Only a matter of time. They're going to wait out the nades. Flag will go. Legend flies in to get that. Now 3-2. And what an expensive flag cap. It took 3 minutes, and now there's only 135 left for JLINGZ winners bracket hopes.
4 dead though, 4 dead for Acend. And again, who's behind enemy lines? Who's running that counter cap? It's gonna be Morga, and for all the good work that Seeker did to force that return, now you're gonna see Legend have to step up himself inside the base.
Look at these kills here. Legend also gets a pull. 2 dead for the side of Acend. Legend needs to be big here and stay alive in the back of the base.
They have to deal with him quickly here. This is the problem that JLINGZ have had. Finding that last kill, finding that second kill. They need to get him dealt with, and Septic will do it and survive. The flag is back home. There's around 60 seconds left on the clock, and it's going to be JLINGZ who tie it up at 3-3.
Oh my God, with less than a minute left, we're tied here. Overtime potential certainly, but it's 2 dead for JLINGZ. Acend right now is answering back, and they're going to try to counter.
The player in the corner here, I'm not sure that you would have seen him. That sniper actually disappeared back to car, and I like this grab back. That's actually coming in. This is actually respectful POV, excuse me. Now he finds himself in a 2v2 situation. If he can take down Septic here, he might be able to force a run. It's a massive battle to win. He's got the thrust to get away with things because the shots were looking a little bit shaky.
Now on board with Septic again in the back of the base. 26 seconds left, and we're in sudden death whether we go into OT or not. Next flag will win.
Septic, big double kill from him. Survivability just as important as the shots in that situation. But we're down to the last 15 seconds. Does anybody want to make a play to get that flag moving? I'm not sure if there's anyone quite close enough apart from maybe Snipe Drone.
Let's see there. Camo thought about getting popped, but it's not going to go just yet. 3 seconds on the clock, no pulls.
No pulls yet, and that will be the end of the game. We're going into sudden death here. As we have a tie on Aquarius capture the flag, 3-3. Next cap wins.
We could not ask for a better series here to start off the day. We're so glad you're hanging out with us, both here in the room at DreamHack Valencia, as well as everyone joining on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you for hanging out with us on Championship Sunday, very early if you're joining us from North America. but here it's already been a spicy afternoon in Southern Europe. And a fantastic set of overtime here. JLINGZ backs against the wall, but they score with 60 seconds left to force overtime.
And the thing you hate about overtime, right, is you know if you lose that first team fight, if you lose that camo, that could be the game. You've worked 15 minutes previously to try and get any kind of opportunity, any kind of advantage, and then it slips through your fingers. Acend and Seeker on the prowl. They have the kills. They also have that camouflage.
Chris was trying to eagle-eye the camo there. That's why he was standing still, and he actually pays the price pretty heavily as he takes a lot of damage and now forces free spawns for his whole team.
Perfect setup here. Seeker's going to stay alive in the base. They're waiting just for a few more pieces to fall into their hands. Snipe drone, respectful. 2 kills in quick succession. Morga, the last alive. He's desperately trying to overextend, but there is Legend to shut the door. He takes him down, and Acend will run this one home. It's been a hell of an effort from JLINGZ, but Acend have been champions for a reason.
That is how Acend intended to end it, and I cannot wait until you see the stats, because there's one player on Acend who popped off that game, and it's quite a big storyline for this weekend. But Acend finishes as they intended. That's the Acend we're used to seeing. Textbook Halo from them to close out overtime very comfortably.
And Seeker walking across the stage and beating his chest.
Beating his chest.
I love that from him. He's maybe take a little bit of the Jungle Book inspiration that we were talking about yesterday.
Or the flexing that we saw on main stage too.
There's
it's more like a primitive form of flexing, I think,
it is.
Beating the chest.
We do a little bit different over here in Europe. But I mean, what a performance it was in overtime as well. And I mentioned it can be so heartbreaking sometime over overtime. You lose that first team fight, it's like, it's one flag. We don't even have an opportunity to fire back. But I mean, credit to JLINGZ for the performance in the series, but I think that Acend started just to flow a little bit more in certain situations. But I think, let's take ourselves out of this match for a second. If you're Quadrant, if you're Na'Vi, and you're watching that series, you're thinking that Acend can bleed.
One player to watch here on the stats. Brandon Stones, respectful, the new addition to this team that people were rightfully wondering, is this the right guy for the team? Take a look at the numbers, 29 and 17 to close out an overtime win.
Big stuff from Respectful. Very, very impressive. And Seeker as well. Great stats from him. Good assist as well. But the plays he was making in that flag standoff, not only did he put himself in a position, picked up a power-up, managed to kill the player on the flag, got a touch. He then goes to the other side of the map, stays alive long enough to do enough damage to allow his team to move in. I think that if Seeker isn't on this lineup right now, then that's probably game over.
I mean, amazing set of plays from him. Probably some of the best 2 to 3 minutes of competitive Halo we've seen on the main stage yet. Just like you say, it's perfect Halo, doing all the damage he needed to do, running both sides of the objective as well, and it was a big part of the Acend victory.
It certainly was. So Acend stay strong. They take the series 3-1. JLINGZ will fall down to that elimination bracket. I want to hear what the desk has to say about that very impressive performance coming in from Acend.
Very impressive indeed, lads. I mean, what an absolutely incredible way to start off Championship Sunday. Acend, yes, they can bleed, but what is so impressive, I think, about this roster is when they are actually put on the back foot at certain times, and JLINGZ doing that really, really well, is that individual players are able to give what they do best to the team and be able to turn things around. We saw that with Seeker, we saw that with Respectful, we saw that with Legend, we saw that with Snipe Drone. There's so many times in all of my notes here, I have a different player on each and every single one of the maps in the series, and I think that's what makes an amazing roster truly great clutch, is the fact that they can clutch up when it matters most.
It's a team full of playmakers, and that's exactly what they were able to do throughout this series. They did every objective game. Somebody stepped up when the game looked close, when the game looked like it was teetering and tottering and JLINGZ looked like they were going to take it. Every single time somebody steps up, somebody hits some shots, somebody goes 2 for 1 in a 1v2, and that's what you need if you want to win tournaments. Acend are here to play.
They certainly are. And I think on the flip side of things, it would be, you know, it would be kind of a criminal offense to not talk about JLINGZ and what they managed to do on the stage and how close they managed to keep it throughout the entire series. You know, you might have looked at that Slayer and thought, well, it's a Slayer, anything can happen. But that capture the flag was a totally different story. And something that impressed me as well, Gaskin, is they got every single power-up right at the beginning on every map. That is so big. Even just taking that away from Acend's hands and being able to execute that throughout the series was really impressive.
JLINGZ were getting slapped 5-0, 5-1 on online scrims when it came to this game type. So to see them do that on LAN, I think this is going to be a very different JLINGZ for the rest of this tournament. They are going to be vying for not just top 3, top 4, but I think they want to get back into that grand final. They want to have a chance at being able to even win this tournament. With a performance like that, there's no reason why they couldn't. sure they didn't quite get over that final hurdle. Acend had that little bit more experience, but JLINGZ do not look like the JLINGZ we've seen online.
Yeah, I talked about it before the series started. I said if JLINGZ can make this a competitive series, if these games are close, that bodes well for their opportunity in elimination bracket. I know Mark was talking about it as the series ended. He said, this is Acend bleeding. This is what Na'Vi and Quadrant wanted to see. In my eyes, when I'm Na'Vi, when I'm Quadrant, and I see JLINGZ playing this strong, top 2 is no longer a lock, top 3 is no longer a lock. They're gonna have to compete to even get there.
Yeah, I was going to add as well, like just overall in that game, especially on Aquarius CTF, it seems like Acend always used to struggle on every CTF they play on in any way, shape or form. But of course, you know, with yourself on the team, I know you're quite good on those structured CTF maps anyway, going +12. It's actually helped them a little bit better. So I think a lot of people will be debating if there's JLINGZ have been playing well or Acend, you know, not playing in their peak performance. I think it's kind of a bit of both. JLINGZ be still playing quite well, but with Acend, they just need to be a little bit careful with their coordination. They take so many 1v1, some gunfights here and there, but the problem is they get away with it, which is going to be a huge issue for some of these teams.
I think it's a fantastic question, and a question we can definitely pose to Respectful, who is on the desk joining us. First of all, man, what incredible effort from you and the boys. I mean, 29 and 17 to finish that one off. I mean, you're popping off. You're absolutely nuts. But Respectful, you know, in terms of the series, we kind of expected, I think, before Valencia, for you guys to come into this and kind of breeze through, you know, a series like JLINGZ. What happened? Is there something that's not quite clicking for you guys? You obviously managed to clutch up and ice up when it matters most, but it wasn't the smooth, clean sailing Acend. It's a lot of S's in that that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, game 1, JLINGZ already been here at the event. They've been warming up. We came into it. Maybe we should have turned up half an hour earlier. So they came in prepared. They're all lasered. They're all really good players. So, you know, we were just like catching our feet game 1, and they were all firing all cylinders. So we took that as kind of a warm-up game. Game 2, Slayer Catalyst. We all know what that can be like. It's just, you know, there's a lot of listen to your audio, power swords, like repulsors. So it was just one of the, we haven't really practiced Slayer Catalyst as many times as other game types. We kind of just try and avoid it. And like online in that game type, people fly around, challenge each other. But on LAN, obviously, it's such a big map. It's so open. Like so people, there's loads of corners. People play it completely different. So, you know, they just had all the power weapons, overshields, as you know. So they caught us off guard in that one. To be fair, I don't know why they removed Bazaar for it personally. But yeah, whatever. Game 3, we started to wake up. We started to wake up, obviously. Had a good game 3, and then game 4, we outslayed them. We could have been cleaner on a few more flag caps, like watching OEs and stuff. But, you know, like, it just proves how much we can slay. Like, we made that game pretty much harder for ourselves than it could have been. But, you know, credit where credit's due. JLINGZ, like, we probably didn't play to our best, but they were playing really, really good as well. So, you know, fair enough to them. Them guys are all really good players.
Respectful, you've been the talk of the town for the last couple of weeks, because obviously the change from Na'Vi to Acend. How's that been for you, pressure-wise? Have you felt it, or has it just been same old story?
I don't know. You know, like, people talk about stuff behind the scenes. People like storylines. People like drama. You know, at the end of the day, like, I'm not interested. I just turn up and I play. Like, that's all I ever do. Like, you know, you get people like looking, well, if you play this person in this bracket, you'll play this person. Like, I don't ever look into that. I just turn up, play. Like, you got to beat everybody at the end of the day. So it's just business as usual.
And what's it like now? Are you more confident on this Acend roster than you were for Na'Vi for your own personal play style? Do you feel happier with this lineup?
Well, to be honest, like, Na'Vi, they're quite a structured team, which is very good, obviously. They play very structured. But it's only structured in my opinion, but we're structured and we can also thrive in the chaos, which I prefer. So like, there's not a set textbook like decision to make for every single scenario. But you know, I like all the guys on Na'Vi. I've got no bad blood against them. Like, I hope like I can play them or Quadrant. I want to play everybody at the end of the day. Like, I really want to. But you know, like, I'm always confident as a player anyway in my own individual ability. I always have been. Maybe I had tiny little less belief in myself, but playing in these last online cups and scrimming something, like, it's like my little comeback story. Like, I feel more in myself. I just feel like I've been like kind of I'm just floating around doing my thing, and that's what I've always done. That's what I do best.
You love a bit of chaos anyway.
Yeah.
Just as long as you get the flow and the aggression, you're perfectly fine, aren't you? I want your team's opinion on just overall what you think of Acend is like, because there's so many different ways you can play it. Yes, it can be a little bit of a shambles. Some people can play it defensively with that defensive posture with the sword and the overshield waiting for you to make the first mistake. Even with the OV potentially be able to pick up in play, it can still somehow favour the team with defensive posture with the crossfire. What's your opinion on Acend's TS just in terms of your thoughts?
I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of the game type. I don't mind Catalyst Flag, like I will happily play Catalyst Flag, but you know, like I said before, there's so many corners, there's repulsors, there's skewers, there's swords, there's grapples, and you know, like everything's a hallway, and you know how strong grenades are, especially on LAN. So you know, they kind of got like a good lead on us, and then they just held and then just played for power weapons. Like you got to do what you got to do. Like I don't blame them guys for the way they was playing it. Like you know, like I had the sword on the recharge after, I was just getting my revenge. So yeah, like personally, I don't enjoy that game type. It's one we practice the least, and playing it online is completely different to LAN. I'm sure it'll be different in the North American events as well, but you know, like we lost one game, like, is what it is. It's cool. Right. Yeah.
All right, so one step closer. It's Championship Sunday. You got a winners finals to look forward to. Who do you want to play?
I want to play both of the teams.
No,
but, like,
you don't. Who do you want to play?
I mean, I can't, like, but.
Who would you prefer?
I want to play SLG, man. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Like, I want to play.
You two have had beef for like 10 years.
But we're friends.
Sorry,
so
friends, but
like,
yeah.
I want to play those guys. You know, like, I want to play Navi as well, just because it's my old team. But like, I feel like I've been playing against them guys for so long, whereas like I haven't played Quadrant as much, and you know, two of my teammates are French, so a French team. So it's nice to see me and Sniper Drones, the only English guys, and it's cool. It's just cool, man. I like it.
Respectful, final question for you. A little bit of a bumpy start, not too much of a bump though. Didn't go all the way to game 5, so you're pretty cool and collected on that one. But you know, how are you feeling about the confidence heading into Championship Sunday, knowing that you have a couple of different beasts to go up against now? Getting into that grand finals, a lot of eyeballs on your team to actually take the entire event. You feeling that pressure right now? You guys prepared?
Obviously there's pressure. Like personally, I'm all right. I'm confident in myself and all my teammates. You know, like me and Sniper Drone have been doing this a long time. We've been winning, and it's nice to have some young blood on our team, like Seeker and Legend. Like they've been winning online for a long time. Halo 5. They've obviously won the last online Super, and now this is our first LAN event in Europe in years. So they're ready to prove themselves now, and like just you know, I'm happy to coach them through it. Like come with them, you know.
Love that. Well, respectful, keeping it pretty respectful on the desk as well. So thank you so much for joining us. An amazing series to kick things off here today, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament. Well, there we have it. We've heard from Respectful on how the Acend boys are feeling after that pretty epic series against JLINGZ. Let's take a look at the brackets, though, to see where we are at currently. Of course, we just had our winners semi-finals. We do have our finals ready to go after Quadrant versus Na'Vi. Who is going to be joining Acend? That is the big question. I think this one's going to be an absolute banger clutch. Quadrant Na'Vi, I think they're going to be matching up pretty damn well if Na'Vi can bring to the table the performance that they had yesterday.
Yeah, you want to see a strong performance out of Quadrant as well to give you any hope that they're going to take down the likes of Acend. Both these two teams are going to have to start off hot, and Na'Vi, you know they're trying to ride the momentum wave that they built from that 2-0 or the 3-0 against Online Warriors. They looked like a completely different team towards the end of that series than we've seen all year long, so looking forward to that one for sure.
Indeed, and you can look right now in the elimination bracket. Something that's caught my eye is the fact that Online Warriors dropped a map against Vex Gaming. Lethal, what are you reading into this?
We're going to see a JLINGZ and potentially a Blackhand rematch. So that should be an interesting one considering what we witnessed yesterday. But the thing is, though, the stakes are high. The energy isn't going to be as much in terms of the catastrophe yesterday. But I think it still could be another rematch for Blackhand to kind of swing things around a little bit.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really tough one if we do see that.
Yeah, it's one thing to start running your mouth on winners bracket. It's a completely different situation when elimination bracket's on the line. So often do you see someone pop off. I remember doing the whole choke thing to Ogre 2. Well, Ogre 2 came back and didn't want to see him again, and unfortunately we all know how that story went. So this is Blackhand's chance at redemption.
It is indeed, and I think what was interesting to note as well, Blackhand yesterday, even losing in a map, were also shooting bodies, showing a bit of disrespect, and it was like, wow, they are that riled up that this is going to be an absolutely epic rematch if we do get there in the elimination bracket as well. Well, folks, we're going to head to a break right now, but when we come back, we do have another winners semi-finals on the way. We have Na'Vi versus Quadrant. This is going to be a huge series you don't want to miss. We'll see you guys right after the break.